Hello, good morning, and welcome to the Virtual Racers Club, and welcome to round 4 of the MaX5 Season 8 Championship. We've returned stateside to tackle the ever-treacherous Trial Mountain, and we have got another set of races coming up for you. So for MaX5, as you know, they will have a 10 minutes qualifying with a 15-minute sprint and a 30-minute feature race, and we've been using our national points system. For race 1, they'll have to use the soft tyres, and for race 2, they must use the hard tyres as a mandatory tyre. So, 3 rounds in, and this is how the championship looks so far. Racer Brown currently leading the pros and the championship. He's on 111 points. Second is Big Dan. He's leading the pro amateurs. He's on 97 points. Guesty currently in third. He's on 84 points. Bazza currently in fourth. He's on 64 points. Homesick Alien having a real difficulty season so far. He sits fifth with 56 points. Mrs. Guesty leading the amateurs. She's also on 56 points. Seventh is Pat on 54 points. Sharon really having a dreadful season so far. He sits in 8th on 48 points. Silver Star is 9th. He's on 40 points. 10th is Flashman with 16 points, and Harvey, Rido, Jokers and Electric all still yet to score, but as far as I'm aware, they are having some logistics issues, so hopefully we will see them on track very soon. So they've had their 10-minute qualifying, and this is the result from it, with Guesty taking pole. Lined up beside him is Big Dan, missing out by 1,000th of a second. Third is Homesick Alien, being joined by Silver Star in fourth, with Mrs. Guesty in fifth. Pat coming in 6th, and Flashman bringing up the rear in 7th. Doesn't look like we're going to have a lot of people on track today, but it doesn't mean we are going to be short on action. So it looks like they are making their way round to the grid, so let us go trackside. Round 4 of the MaX5 is go! Looks like they've all gotten away well, nice and clean. Not quite sure what's gone on with Pat's livery, unfortunately, so we'll have to tolerate it for now, but it looks like Guesty has managed to retain that lead. Homesick Alien currently attacking Big Dan on the inside, but Big Dan defends it quite well indeed as they are now on their way. Silver Star now being under attack by Mrs. Guesty, but it looks like he has managed to hold that one off so far. It looks like they've all gotten away clean and squeaky. Oh, it looks like Pat's having a bit of a wiggle coming out of the tunnel. That's seen him slip back to the back of the grid, but so far at the moment Guesty still holding off from Big Dan. Big Dan lunging it round that right hand corner, clearly pushing that Mazda to its absolute limit in his bid to catch up the Guesty, who has currently got a little bit of a lead at the moment. Homesick Alien tight up the back of Big Dan, looking to get a big slipstream as we go through the long tunnel, with Silver Star still rolling well in fourth. He's actually managed to pull away from the backpack here. That's now being led by Flashman. Is Mrs. Guesty going to have a look on the inside going through the hairpin? No, Pat does. Pat absolutely launches it through the hairpin, but unfortunately he's gone out wide, and it looks like it's going to return to as they were as we now go through the tricky section, but it looks like everybody's managed to make it through so far. Flashman having a great race so far. If he can finish off in 5th, that would be absolutely cracking for him. Silver Star still pushing hard to try and catch up the big 3 that are currently running away, as we can see that Big Dan has been overtaken by Homesick Alien as we came down the hill, now going through the tricky chicane, but it looks like Big Dan has managed to hold off Homesick Alien and maintains that 2nd, and all this fighting is letting Guesty run away with it. So if he's able to just keep his head down, keep it focused, let them guys fight behind him, and he's going to have a very comfortable victory indeed. Big Dan having to defend hard from Homesick Alien, and I've actually just noticed there is no Racer Brown at the moment, so this could be exactly what Big Dan needs. Could you imagine if he took the lead of the championship? That would be absolutely incredible, but it looks like Homesick Alien is having to make him fight for it. He has got to fight hard because he's got to make up some ground, because he's not doing particularly well, but it seems to be going okay for him so far. Silver Star at the moment, all by his Billy Bob at the moment. He's been chased down by Pat, who's now lost Flashman and Mrs. Guesty by some margin as well. Oh no, it looks like there's a bit of damage on the front of Flashman. In fact, he's actually going half power. I wonder if him and Mrs. Guesty have had a coming together. It looks like he is redressing. Yes, there we go. She goes by Flashman. So that probably explains why there is such a big gap between themselves and the front running packs, and they've got a lot of catching up to do. But so far at the front, it appears to be Guesty running away with it so far. Big Dan's now starting to lose Guesty a little bit, but he is having to put up the mammoth of a defense against Homesick Alien, who is pushing hard. He's managed to look after those tyres quite well so far on lap 2. Big Dan has used his tyres up a little bit more, but let's not forget he has been defending from Homesick Alien, and he appears to be still struggling keeping that MX5, I do apologise, he seems to be struggling to keep that MX5 under control so far, but if as long as he keeps his head down, he should be okay. But Homesick Alien will definitely have something to say about it. Silver Star running well in 4th. This could be what he needs in his championship bid in the amateur class. But Pat might have to say something about it, because he is chasing down Silver Star, and as we saw, Mrs. Guesty and Flashman having a little bit of a coming together. But it looks like it's all settled down now. It looks like Big Dan still hasn't shaken. They're all going purples at the moment, but it's a question of who's going to be able to do the execution. And it looks like Homesick Alien is trying the best he can, but he just can't seem to make a dent in that gap that Big Dan has managed to pull out. Maybe using the slipstream is going to help him out a little bit. I don't know if he is actually getting a tow from Guesty. He might be a little bit too far away. Not 100% sure, but I'll be hoping and praying he can get some form of tow to help him against Homesick Alien. I think he might have had a little bit out of it, because having said that, Homesick Alien has managed to close up the gap a little bit more. Still going purples at the moment. I'm guessing most of them could be so far. This looks like to be the only battle on track so far. So we'll keep with them for the time being. So Homesick Alien still can't find that little bit extra pace that he needs to catch up Big Dan. This is absolutely extraordinary. Homesick Alien absolutely struggling to hunt down a Big Dan. And I bet he's absolutely loving this, mixing it up with the pros up in front. You'll sometimes see him up front. In fact, he's had quite a few battles up front. He's just missed out on a win here and there with Racer Brown on quite a few occasions. Maybe this is the ascension of Big Dan, I wonder, because he's absolutely loving these MaX5s. is able to keep up with the pros. Could you believe it? Homesick Alien is just not able. Oh, it looks like went in a little bit deep there, but he's managed to survive so far. And oh, that sounded like a bit of a bang. It was a bit of a bang because Big Dan has lost a lot of ground. So he must have had a little bit of a bang coming through that corner, and now Homesick Alien can smell blood. And now he'll be viciously on the attack going down the hill through the tunnel. This is where you expect Homesick Alien to strike. On board now with Homesick. In fact, no, he's going tactical. He's given him a little bit of a push. He's not happy with second. He clearly wants to catch Guesty as best as he can. As we can see Guesty just in front. They're not that far ahead, but as Big Dan outbraked himself, I think he has. And there's Homesick Alien going through into second, but Big Dan is going to come back fighting. As you can see, Big Dan does have the inside, but it's not enough anymore, and that's Homesick Alien moving up into second. Now I wonder if Homesick Alien is able to catch down Guesty, because it's all been himself at the moment. He did have the pole, he got a clean start, he managed to run away with Big Dan and Homesick Alien fighting. Is he going to have it all his own way though? Now that Homesick Alien has been released, is he going to be able to chase down the Guesty and really give him something to think about? And Big Dan, no doubt, will be following him the entire way. Let's have a look further back here. Silver Star, it looks like he's managed to shake off Pat a little bit. So, as long as everything goes the way it is now, this is going to be a great point haulage for Silver Star. Pat as well. Once again, we apologise. We're not quite sure what's gone on with his livery. In fact, I don't know what's going on there. It looks like he's giving the barrier a little bit of a stroke there. I don't think it's going to work for him out there, but it doesn't appear to have affected him all that much. Or I wonder if tyre wear is now starting to become an issue. We are coming up to 9 minutes, so they've still got a good 6 minutes to go. I'm starting to wonder, maybe the tyres, especially that front right, are going to last. Flashman in 6th, he's still doing not too badly on the tyre wear. Maybe in 5th, but this is still going to be great points for him at the end of the day. Mrs. Guesty in 6th, as we suspect that her and Flashman had a little bit of a coming together, because Flashman did redress, but it looks like it's all been for naught. But she's still going to get 6th. Not 7th, should I say, and that's still going to be some good points at the end of the day. Meanwhile, the husband absolutely running away with it now. The question is, because this is a long track, I wonder if tyres are going to be a factor in this, because as we can see, Guesty has used that front right quite a considerable amount. I wonder if that's going to affect him come near the end of the race. Homesick Alien, we know he can look after a set of tyres when he wants to. He's got plenty of grip left in that front right. So I wonder if he's going to be a threat to Guesty by the end of it. Big Dan, the worst of the top 3, but as we know, he is on a controller, so it's a lot harder for him to maintain some form of tyre preservation, but that has not slowed him down. But come the end of the race, I wonder if he's going to be able to keep up with the guys in front of him. But a 3rd is still going to be more points than Racer Brown is currently getting. So even a 3rd is going to go absolutely swimmingly for him. Silver Star still going well in 4th. He's still got plenty of tyres. Well, ooh, it's a little swing at the back end, sticking out a little bit just to say, hang on a second, Sunshine, you're pushing me a little bit too hard here. Bring me in a little bit and I'll start to behave. Pat as well in 5th, chasing down a Silver Star. Is he going to be able to catch him by the end of it? He's used his front rights quite a bit as well, so I'm not 100% sure if he's going to be able to mount any form of attack by the end of it. Flashman, out of all of them, he's got the most grip left on that front right, but I don't think he'll be able to overtake Pat. By the end of it, Pat's going to have to make a absolutely catastrophic error in order to lose that 5th place. Mrs. Guesty as well in some of the fact. I think she's got slightly better, more tyre preservation, should I say, than a lot of them. So there we go. It's like she's able to look after the tyres. If she can apply a bit more speed, I'll tell you what, she would be an absolute threat to everybody. But so far, it has been the husband that has been running away with it. Homesick Alien, he has managed to catch up a little bit to Guesty. The tyre wear is now starting to play a deciding factor in this. And is Guesty's win now guaranteed? Big Dan, that front right, has completely given up the ghost now. That's at the end of its life, but they can't pit. They are stuck with him, so he's going to have to manage it somehow. Maybe if he's just able to control it just a little bit more, it looks like 3rd might be guaranteed. But to be fair, Silverstar is a little bit too far back. Like in the situation with Pat, Big Dan's going to have to make a very, very big error in order to lose that 3rd place, but we can never count it by the end of it. Pat as well still going 4th. He has managed to catch up Silverstar a little bit. Silverstar doing a 207.5 with Pat doing a 206.2, so he was faster in the previous lap despite the tyre grip disadvantage that he's at. So it might have been a mistake from Silverstar's point of view, but he's still got more grip left than Pat has, so he's just got to keep his head down, and I think he'll be all right. We're coming up to the final minute, so it looks like some of the, I don't know if they'll get, I think this will be his next lap might be his last lap. I think the top 3 aren't going to get another lap out of it, so, oh, excuse me. Oh, I do apologise. I was fearing that might happen, because I've been a little bit under the weather for the past 2 weeks, hence why it's taking me a little bit to get this done. But, oh, that's Big Dan in 2nd. What has happened to Homesick Alien? Homesick Alien has dropped to 3rd. What on earth has happened to Homesick Alien? So here they are then with the replay. As you can see, Homesick Alien currently in 2nd. We're about halfway back in the lap. Comfortable in 2nd. Oh, he's hit the barrier on the way into the tunnel, and he's spun it round. That's what's happened to Homesick Alien, and Big Dan must be absolutely praising the heavens for being gifted the 2nd place. And Homesick Alien, another rare mistake from Homesick Alien, has seen him drop to 3rd, and my word, he must be absolutely kicking himself. So, wow, Big Dan has been gifted a chance for a 2nd place as we're coming up to the 15-minute marker, and it looks like Guesty is going to get another lap in, and it looks like it is going to go his way. Big Dan must not be believing his luck at the moment. He could end up with a 2nd, and Homesick Alien dropping down to 3rd. He must be absolutely livid. He's probably cursing under his helmet as we speak. Silverstar, he's going to get another lap in. In fact, you can see Homesick Alien in the distance. But I think 3rd is going to be a little bit of a stretch for him, because he's got bigger things to worry about in Pat. Even though Pat's front right has completely given up, he is not that far behind Silverstar, as the checkered flag has now dropped, and it looks like Flashman is going to be the first to cross. He comes home in 6th place. And Mrs. Guesty looks like she is going to finish in 7th, but it's still going to be some great points for her at the end of the day. But meanwhile, we will cut back to Silverstar and Pat, because this looks like this is the only battle we have on track at the moment, as Pat absolutely pushing the Max, the MX5 as hard as he can with what tyres that he's able to give him. But it looks like he's just not being able to get the grip through the corners in order to catch up Silverstar. So it looks like this is going to be a 4th place for Silverstar, with Pat coming home in 5th. It's still going to be a great haul of points for him regardless. But you've just got to wonder what could have been if Pat just had a little bit more grip. Silverstar hitting the inside of the barrier. It doesn't look like it's affecting him too much, as he's still managed to pull out a little bit of a gap between himself and Pat, but will have to cut to the leader. And wow, Guesty's tyres only just managed to hang on. He's weaving side to side. It's been his way from start to finish, and Guesty comes home to take the sprint race win. Big Dan must not be leaving his luck. He comes home in 2nd, with Homesick Alien coming home in 3rd. He's probably quite happy, but what could have been, I wonder. Silverstar has managed to hold off Pat long enough. He comes home in an absolutely solid 4th place, with Pat coming home in 5th after a cracking battle with Silverstar. So, Guesty takes your sprint win, with Big Dan coming home in 2nd. He also got the fastest lap, so that'll be an extra point for him. Homesick Alien finishes in 3rd, but what could have been if not for that small spin that he had. Silverstar finishes in 4th after that cracking battle with Pat, who finishes in 5th. Flashman comes home in 6th place, and finally Mrs. Guesty comes home in 7th. It's still going to be a great set of points for everybody regardless though. So with the sprint race done, let's move on to the feature race, and I have been told that Racer Brown is actually here, but some mechanical issues led to him not being able to take part in the sprint, but he is here for the feature race, and I think it's going to be a cracking race now. So I think they're making their way to the grid. They're just coming round the back straight now, so let us cut back to the action. So here we go then for the feature race, as Mrs. Guesty leads us off, with Flashman in 2nd, Pat in 3rd, which we've been told that they've had to rebuild the car from a practice incident, which they managed to put it all back together, but they couldn't get the paintwork finished in time. That explains the livery issue he has been having. Silverstar in 2nd, with Homesick Alien in 5th, Big Dan in 6th, and Guesty in 7th, and we are joined by Racer Brown, which we've been told he was having throttle issues. That's why he wasn't able to make the sprint race, so he's got all the work to do if he wants to keep his championship fight alive, because now he is on the back foot, with Mrs. Guesty still holding well in 1st at the moment, being chased down by Flashman, but he's got quite the crowd behind him. It looks like Silverstar's having a look at Pat coming through that tunnel, but he's unable to make the move. And look at the Lions are waiting behind him, waiting to overtake him so that they can start making their way up the grid. He's got Homesick Alien, Big Dan, Guesty and Racer Brown chasing him down. He is the cork in the bottle. And which one's going to be the first one to make a move? It looks like it could be Homesick Alien, as Big Dan was having a look on the inside as well, but he's unable to make it work, and it looks like Homesick Alien has managed to make his way through, and now Mrs. Guesty's the cork, but she's unable to make it turn. We've got Tyre Squill. Who's gone for it? It looks like everybody's there, but it's Flashman. Oh, Paul Flashman. Oh, Paul Flashman. He must have lost the back end. Let's see him go down into last, and Pat's dropped as well. Maybe there was a coming together between those two. We're not quite sure, but that is now Pat dropping from 3rd to 7th. and it's Silver Star down in 6th as well. We're not sure if there was a coming together or whether the Lions just took advantage of a sore mistake. We don't know. But it's Homesick Alien that's taken the lead from Mrs. Guesty. He has not wasted any time whatsoever as he crosses the line, now leading this race, and now he's the one that's going to be setting the pace with Mrs. Guesty in 2nd. Big Dan's moved up into 3rd as well, but he is being looked at on the inside. They're going too wide through the first corner. You need some big steelies in the lower midsection to really go through that too wide, but Guesty's not been able to take advantage of it, and Big Dan remains in 3rd, but Guesty's just sneaked up on the inside as we go through the tunnel. He's now saying that he's in 3rd, and now Racer Brown's having a look at Big Dan. Wow, they are not wasting a single minute that they can get the chance of, and what a chaotic 2 laps we've had so far. We've had a leader change. We've had the amateurs unfortunately drop to the back of this pack, minus Mrs. Guesty. She has held on for dear life, but now she's been chased down by the husband, Mr. Guesty, and I can imagine there isn't going to be much of a fight between those two, because she knows that she's got so they say, oh, I'm losing words right now. She must know that Mr. Guesty has got a championship to fight, and will probably not be wanting to hold him up for much longer. No, she really didn't make much of a fight out of that. So now Guesty moves up into 2nd and can start chasing down Homesick Alien. Silver Star has managed to make his way up to 4th. We're not quite sure what happened there, but now he's scrapping it out between himself and his mate Big Dan, with Racer Brown throwing his cart onto the table as well. He wants a piece of this pie. Must be absolutely loving it down there, but so far Silver Star is managing to hold off Racer Brown and Big Dan. In fact, Racer Brown has managed to take advantage of the calamity and has moved up into 5th place. Big Dan dropping down into 6th. Wow, blink and you miss it. They're not giving any of them room to breathe and just settle down. As we can see, Racer Brown has managed to catch up Silver Star quite massively going through. He must have had a mistake going through that final corner. As we can see, we're going too wide through the first corner. Whoa, they've got their brave pills on prescription, these guys. Wow, I would not be going through that too wide, let me tell you, because it is terrifying. Especially it's a fast tight left-hander as well. One minor misplacement of the car and you are seeing barrier. And let me tell you, he doesn't give prescriptions either. The only one he prescribes is headaches. So now Silver Star dropped down to 6th. Big Dan took advantage of that as well as he's managed to move up past Silver Star. So Silver Star now down in 6th, so these two can start chasing down Mrs. Guesty, who has been holding her own so far, keeping out of trouble, and is starting to pay off. And one by one, the Lions are picking her off. We do expect it. It's hard to say, but it's unfortunately inevitable. But how long can she hold them off? Whoa, they did a huge dive on Mrs. Guesty there. Racer Brown on the inside, wasting no time whatsoever. And Big Dan's not... Oh, I'm going the wrong way. And Big Dan's not wasting any time either. He gets past Mrs. Guesty as well. Silver Star. Silver Star's managed to keep up, but he's lost the back end. Oh, what advantage he did gain from all of that. Has all just gone backwards, and now he's got all the ground to make up by himself. That sounded like somebody struggling back there, but it all looks like they're pointing in the right direction. In fact, Flashman has got ahead of Pat. That was a development we didn't see, but oh no, Silver Star's gone wide again. Oh, it just keeps going bad to worse for Silver Star. And now he's been caught up by Flashman, so oh, it's all going wrong for Silver Star, and Mrs. Guesty must be counting her lucky stars because she's managing to hold off her amateur championship rivals so far, and it's all paying dividend. But this is where the fight is at the moment between Big Dan and Racer Brown, who is managing to hold off Big Dan so far. doing incredibly well. Big Dan, actually. In fact, he's gone up on the inside of Racer Brown, going through the tunnel, and is now up into third place. Almost making it easy for Big Dan. In fact, he's quite the anomaly in this championship, really. He's leading the pro amateurs, and I'm pretty sure he's duking it out with the pros in their championship as well, even though they are not in the same category. So Big Dan has really come alive in this MaX5 season. I think he's one that we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on, because he has been turning heads, making waves. And he's not going to be one to be underestimated in this championship. Guesty, on the other hand, he's another one that we need to watch out for as well, because he's managed to lower the buffer between himself and Homesick Alien by a small margin, but between these guys there isn't much between them. So is Guesty going to be able to pull off some form of magic to get himself ahead of Homesick Alien? Let's cut back into the battle between Big Dan and Racer Brown. This is where it is at the moment. So Big Dan looking to knock on the door of a podium, and so far it's all going swimmingly for him, as he's managed to pull a very, very small gap between himself and Racer Brown. But as we're going to see, the back end just kicking out a little bit. I was going to say, watch that gap decrease as we go down the long, long straight, as Racer Brown tucks in to get some toe off Big Dan to help him catch up to third. But let's have a look further back here. Mrs. Guesty still holding off her fellow amateur drivers, as she's holding off in fifth, with Flashman in sixth. He's moved up a place, or no, he's got ahead of Silverstar. Silverstar is at the back, so something once again has happened to Silverstar. It is just not going his way at the moment, and I think he's going to be looking forward to seeing the back end of this race. Pat as well, trying his best to keep up with Flashman, but Flashman so far is doing incredibly well to hold off sixth place and hunting down Mrs. Guesty, but she's the one leading the pace at the moment for the amateurs. She's wanting to get her hands on her first championship. We know that she has the pace, we know that she has the talent. It's just not gone her way most of the time, but she is knocking on the door for a amateur championship. That will give a boost to her confidence no end. Meanwhile, let's have a look. This is where the main fight is at the moment between Big Dan and Racer Brown. Big Dan has managed to pull off a little bit of a gap between himself and Big Dan. So it looks like Racer Brown does not have an answer for Big Dan. Mind you, let's have a look. Last lap, Big Dan did a 2:05.8. Guesty holding the fastest lap at the moment with a 2:05.1, with Homesick Alien doing a 2:05.3. So the top throw, oh no, Homesick Alien losing the back end there. It stepped out a little bit. We'll have to see if he hit the wall or the curbs. I'm not 100% sure. We'll have to have a look. But now it's Guesty that has taken the lead from Homesick Alien as we were going through at the lap times, and Racer Brown doing a 2:05.9, so he's the slowest out of the front runners. I'm not quite sure what is going on there. Maybe there's still a little bit of a throttle issue. We don't know. To the end of lap 5. This is the tricky left, right, and just before the start finish straight, and Homesick Alien just loses the back end. The back end snaps out, and Guesty just completely takes advantage of it and takes the lead as we start lap 6. So that is how it all happened in regarding leader change. So there we go then. That is how Guesty took the lead. Another mistake from Homesick Alien. He is really, really struggling with this MaX MX5 this season. maybe not liking the combination this time round. However, Big Dan down in third is now, he has lost a fair amount of ground to Racer Brown, who's all over the back end of Big Dan. So maybe this isn't going to be as easy for Big Dan as I suspected it would be as we go through the tunnel. So now Racer Brown is going to be tucked into the slipstream of Big Dan as we jump on board with Racer Brown. As we can see, he's actually giving him a little bit of a push along. He'll be wanting to catch up those leaders out in quite a good chunk ahead as well. So Big Dan breaks late a little bit, takes the outside of the line. Racer Brown more comfortable on the inside, and Big Dan has managed to hold him off, maybe for another few laps or so, but loses the back end a little bit, but manages to keep it together, but doesn't lose too much ground to Racer Brown. Come now down to, oh, my mistake then. So Homesick Alien and Guesty all coming in at the same time. Homesick Alien has managed to save a little bit more fuel than Guesty, and Big Dan's come in as well. So he has followed the two front runners ahead. Racer Brown stays out. So maybe that is why Racer Brown maybe holding back a little bit. Maybe he's looking after the fuel, maybe looking after the tyres. As we come up to the 15-minute mark, he has got half a tank of fuel. So maybe he is fuel saving and tyre saving. Is he going for a non-stopper? In fact, Racer Brown and Pat, the only ones to not stop for the time being. He's got less than half a tank, so my guess is he is definitely going to have to come in. Flashman also dives in, so everyone barring Racer Brown and Pat have all come in as Guesty comes out. In fact, they've gone on to softs. Guesty and Homesick Alien have all gone on to the soft tyre. That's an interesting one. Did you think that, well, I assume that they will last the 15 minutes. They're going to be feeling quite a bit of punishment by the end of it. So that is one we will have to keep an eye on. As you can see, Guesty currently struggling at the moment. The tyres not fully up to temperature, trying to find the grip. Homesick Alien not struggling as much with the colder tyre. Big Dan now in fifth. He has got a job and a half to do, but with the fresh soft tyres and a little bit more fuel, he is going to be putting the hammer down to try and get himself a little bit of a buffer between himself and Racer Brown, who we're not sure if he's going for a no stopper or not. Everything would seem to indicate that he is. Mrs. Guesty has also come in as well. She has put on the softs, as well as Silver Star. He's gone softs and a full tank, so he is not going to be trying to save any form of fuel. He's going to burn off as much as he can so he can stay at full throttle. In fact, Mrs. Guesty has only put in a little bit of fuel, so she must feel that she's going to be able to get that car all the way to the end with just over half a tank. But we are 17 minutes in, so she must be confident. Pat has now come into the pits as well. We knew that he was going to be stopping because he didn't have the fuel to go all the way. Racer Brown carrying on though. I wonder if it is going to be a bit of a stretch for him to get that fuel all the way to the end, but he must be feeling confident and he's able to do it. As Guesty and Homesick Alien, that gap has come down a little bit, but with the soft tyres and half a tank of fuel, what's Homesick Alien got? He's just over a half a tank, so he's able to use more fuel than Guesty. And these two have got to work together if they're going to catch Racer Brown up. They can't be fighting all that much. Big Dan as well, he's got plenty of fuel in there. That's really going to get into the end, so he's going literally to the max to try and solidify his third place, which is looking good at the moment. This is Guesty in fifth. She Well, I suspect she's probably going to get to the end with the half a tank of fuel. Pat has come out. He's gone on to the softs, so he's got more than half a tank, so that's going to see him through. As we've seen that Silver Star is also on the softs. He's got more than enough to get him to the end. And Flashman, he's gone on to the mediums. So, Flashman not following the trend. He's gone for the mediums. Maybe feels that he might not be able to get the softs all the way to the end, so he's guaranteed him some grip to help him get to the end. He's just under 3/4 of a tank. That will be more than enough to see him to the end. Racer Brown not pitting once again, so he is the anomaly at the moment on whether he can get that fuel to the end. We're coming up to 20 minutes, and he is short shifting as well, so that would indicate he is definitely fuel saving, and I suspect he might be able to get it to the end, because we have 10 minutes left and he's got more than 1/4 of a tank. So doing the maths, that looks like it will be enough. But is Guesty and Homesick Alien able to reduce the huge deficit of a pit stop to catch up Racer Brown? They've got all the tools at their disposal. They've got the softs, they've got the fuel to use, but they're the ones with the mountain to climb. And how ironic that'll be here at Trial Mountain, that they have their own mountains to climb. In fact, Guesty has managed to pull off a bit of a gap between himself and Homesick Alien, in which these two were the front runners, but with that pit stop, they've got all the work to do again, and all Racer Brown has to do is just hold on. So maybe Big Dan's podium isn't fully solidified at the moment. In fact, with 10 minutes left, he has used a good chunk of that front right tyre. So he is pushing those tyres to the absolute limit. And now it's going to be a question of whether the tyre will be able to hang on for long enough. It's only been 5 minutes since they pitted, and he's used nearly half of the tyre's life. So for the last 5 minutes, I don't think he's going to have the tyre capable to catch up the podium runners at the moment. So the plot thickens. Is Racer Brown going to deny Big Dan the podium through the no-stop strategy? We will have to wait and see. Mrs. Guesty still holding well in 5th. This is going to boost her amateur championship lead by a good chunk as well. That's going to be a great result for her by the end of this. Pat's holding well in 6th. Silver Star in 7th, with Flashman in 8th. So now we're in that moment of question. Is Racer Brown's strategy going to pay off? With less than, well, we're coming up to 8 minutes to go. The hard tyre is holding on. The fuel is holding on. Racer Brown looks like he may be stealing this one from Guesty, who's in 2nd at the moment. He was leading before all the pit stops kicked in. I think Guesty might be sniffing that his win is slowly slipping away from him. He's getting every ounce of speed out of that MX5 to try and catch himself up for Racer Brown. Don't forget, he's got to go ever so carefully to not burn too much fuel, not use too many tyres to solidify this win. But it's not guaranteed. Is Guesty going to be able to find the speed out of that MX5 to catch up Racer Brown and decrease the pit stop deficit, with Homesick Alien not that far behind him? If he's able to keep with Guesty, he might be able to steal at least 2nd place. But at the moment, as everything is, it looks like 3rd might have to be the best that he can get, but we'll have to wait and see. We still have over 7 minutes left. No, 6 minutes, over 6 minutes should I say. We're not counting the chickens yet, but as we can see, if we cut to Racer Brown, they are all on the main straight. It is a long straight, so you will be able to see him in front of him, and Racer Brown's heart must be in the back of his throat. He's nearly, you can almost feel it. He's so close and yet so far away, but he can't let the panic overtake his judgment. He has to maintain calm. He has to remain calm. He has to remain focused. Any lapse in concentration can see that wind slip away from him. Guesty and Homesick Alien pushing as hard as they can to catch up Racer Brown, to deny him the victory that he is being so careful with. One small mistake from any of these top three runners could see the whole thing change into a calamity, and with one or the other taking the spoils. Big Dan as well, you have to feel sorry for Big Dan. He has been hard at it since the start of the feature race. He's been holding off Racer Brown, he's been trying to hold on to Guesty and Homesick Alien, and is now seeing a podium spot slip away from him. The no-stop strategy really working in Racer Brown's favour at the moment, but is he going to be able to hold on? A question will be answered soon. As we can see, Big Dan, should I say, he has used a good chunk of that front right tyre. With 5 minutes to go, it's not going to last, so is he going to be able to hold off Mrs. Guesty? She has used those softs, but not as much, so she'll have her own mountain to climb if she wants to perhaps maybe get one more place before the end of this. Tantalising at the end. So stay tuned for the end and wait to see it all unfold. She has pulled away from Pat, who was unable to put a dent in that cushion that Mrs. Guesty has built up. Silver Star as well, he was running well. Things just not gone his way, and has seen him slip down into 7th, with Flashman as well. Saw it all going well for him so near the start of the feature race, but it just all didn't work out in the end. But the story is here at the front. Racer Brown is seeing his gap between himself and Guesty slip further and further into their clutches, but he can't pull away. He can't get more out of it. If he does, the whole strategy is out the window. As we can see, the gap has dropped. In fact, they're now in the same long view. We had Racer Brown there just going through this left-hander as we speak. But then again, Guesty has used a good chunk of that right-hand tyre. He slipped the barrier. That's not going to do him any favours because Homesick Alien is right behind him. He can't capitalise on this, but he has decreased the gap. Maybe this is what Racer Brown needs. He wants those two to start fighting and holding each other up and using their tyres, using their fuel. But fuel is not an issue with them, but the tyres is, especially with Guesty, because there is not a lot of meat left on that front right tyre, and Racer Brown has got to be hoping, praying for some sort of miracle for either Guesty or Homesick Alien to go against them. In fact, his fuel is flashing. We have 2.5 minutes left. There we go. They are now in the same view. Racer Brown must be seeing them in his mirrors. We saw him just look up to see the two lions chasing him down, but it's not over yet, because there is a new development, because Guesty has almost used that front right tyre, and when that goes, there is nothing he will be able to do. That tyre will have the grip of ice. And as we can see, they've managed to catch up to the back of him. There's nothing Racer Brown can do. He's now got to use the hope and pray tactic that something goes between them. But Homesick Alien is the one in prime position for it. In fact, he's moved up on Guesty, but the back end slips out. As he went for a move, the back end slips out. So Guesty manages to hold on to second place. Is that the tyre starting to give up? Homesick Alien, he's playing the team game. He's giving a push along. He says, come on, there he is. He's right in front of us. We can't be fighting each other too hard. The win is right there, and Racer Brown must be holding on for dear life. Whoa, what an end to this race. Oh, don't you just love a good dramatic end to a race? And that's Homesick Alien has moved up into second. Guesty just could not hold on. The tyre is now starting to give up. He can't keep up with Racer Brown, even though he has managed to catch him back up. It's just a question of when the tyre will give up, but we're coming down to the last 30 seconds. Racer Brown cannot hold on. Homesick Alien retakes the lead with 30 seconds to go. But how are they going to get another lap out of this, I wonder? Oh, Guesty's managed to make up into second as well. So the no-stop strategy has not paid off for Racer Brown to the fullest that he would like. And it looks like the top three are going to get another lap in. So this will be their final lap. I don't think Big Dan's going to come through. That right-hand tyre has completely given up the ghost. There's nothing left on it. But I think he will be fairly pleased with it and gutted at the same time. It's a fourth for Big Dan as he's the first to cross the line. Let's move further back up and see what's going on. Racer Brown can't hold on. Guesty, the tyres, he must have given up the ghost now, so Racer Brown has hold on. Homesick Alien is struggling as well. We'll have to cut back because Mrs. Guesty comes through in fifth place. Let's look further up. Guesty's managed to take the lead. Whoa, what's gone on here? Quickly look back. Well, I apologise, Pat. He comes home in sixth. We will cut back to them shortly because here comes Silver Star. He's just about to cross the line there as he claims seventh place. Let's quickly look back up before Flashman finishes. As we can see, Guesty has got the lead. That tyre, he's getting as much out of it as he possibly can. How is he managing this? How? There's nothing left on the tyre. Here comes Homesick Alien for a late dive bomb. He's got all the grip in the world. He can use that front right-hand tyre more. Guesty can't, and Homesick Alien takes the lead. Racer Brown can't take advantage of it. The hard tyre is not able to keep up. Flashman comes home in eighth. A cracking race, my friend. A shame it ended the way it did. But it looks like the spoils of the war is going to Homesick Alien. Guesty is still hanging on for dear life. He's gone wide. Oh, is Racer Brown able to take advantage of it? No, he can't. He can't get more grip out of those hard tyres. It looks like Homesick Alien is definitely going to win this one, but the story is here at the moment. Racer Brown's managed to get the second place. Guesty may have to concede the third. The tyre just can't hold on. It can't. You can see it's struggling, but it's Homesick Alien who has fought back to take the win. Congratulations, Homesick Alien. Racer Brown, he's used all the fuel, but he's crossed the line. It's paid off for second place. And Guesty's run out of fuel. Is that the issue? Oh my word, what a dramatic end to this race. Guesty takes third. So, Homesick Alien takes the feature race win and the fastest lap as well. That's a bonus point for him. Racer Brown coming home in second. The no-stop strategy working out slightly to his favour with Guesty in third. Ensign Hewitt, a hard struggle in fourth place with Mrs. Guesty coming home in fifth. Pat finishes in sixth. Silver Star in 7th, and Flashman finishes in 8th place. So let us have a look at the championship standings after round 4. Racer Brown still holds first place with 128 points. Big Dan also on 128 points. He's in second. Guesty in third with 121 points. Homesick Alien is fourth on 92 points. Mrs. Guesty in fifth on 76 points, with Pat in sixth on 75. Bazza is 7th on 64, Silver Star 8th with 62, Sharen on 48th, he's in 9th place, with Flashman in 10th, with Harvey, Rido, Jokers and Electric all still due to take part. And there we go for round 4. We certainly hope you enjoyed those sets of races. Don't forget to tune in to us next time for round 5, where we take on the Tokyo Expressway. That is definitely going to be one to watch. And as always, don't forget, if you liked these sets of races and enjoy the races we bring to you, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to us here at the Virtual Racers Club. Or if you want to get involved with us, there will be a link in our description that will send you to our Discord, so you can join us, get yourself a race number and come and have a few races with us. But for now, that is the end of this round. I have been your broadcaster and commentator, insert comical name here, and I hope to see you for round 5.